Clinker Factor, the cement industry podcast.
Welcome to the Clinker Factor, a podcast from WCA, which looks at the cement industry's response to climate change around the world and other topics of interest. I'm Ian Riley, CEO of WCA, and your host on the Clinker Factor. Today, I'm talking to Amr Nadr, who at the time of recording was VP Strategy, Sustainability and Risk at Yanbu Cement, and who has now left Yanbu and set up his own consulting company, A Cubed. So Amr, welcome today, and perhaps we could just kick off by asking you to give us a 60-second introduction on your experience and how you ended up in the cement industry.
It's my pleasure also to talk to you, Ian, and WCA is doing great for the whole industry. I was actually born in the cement industry. My father is 45 years career in cement. And my first visit to a cement plant, I was in primary school. So I've actually lived my whole life in cement. After graduation, I graduated as a chemical engineer. I joined ASEC, Arab Swiss Engineering Company. It was only a consultant in Egypt at that time, operating all the cement plants in Egypt. And I was lucky enough to join the process department. And lucky for me, I was the first Egyptian to get the process engineer title. Then I moved from ASEC to Orascom as a senior process and projects engineer, and I was responsible for, was the projects coordinator for the first line Orascom had in Pakistan. And then I started my career in Lafarge as technical center process expert till we opened the technical center in Cairo, till I promoted to manager of alternative fuels and pilot process. That was a very strong point to know solid fuels, know alternative fuels, and work on energy management in many aspects. Then I left Lafarge and started my own consultancy for 3 years, where I was serving Middle East and Africa. I stayed there for 3 years. Then I joined Yanbu and I promoted to many positions in Yanbu. And as you said, my last title is VP for Sustainability, Strategy, Sustainability and Risk. And actually this is, I would say, due to the increasing importance of sustainability as a parameter in the business in Saudi Arabia currently.
Yeah, so historically, the focus on sustainability has probably started in Europe and also is quite strong, particularly in South America and India. But I think now it seems to be something that is really top of mind around the world. So you're also seeing this change in Saudi Arabia, Yanbu in particular.
Yeah, I would say that I was chosen in Lafarge to be part of the Lafarge team representing them with UN when the Sustainability Act was being drafted. And that was the time of Kyoto, or around the time of Kyoto. And I would say that there was a very good shift on the sustainability and the concentration towards sustainability and environmental acts in the cement industry because of the Paris Convention. The move, it was a shift from making money from environmental related topics to actually helping the industry and putting real technical efforts towards environment and sustainability. And of course, Saudi Arabia was a Class A country in Kyoto. So there was not, most of the Class A countries was not very much interested on doing something. It was more the Class C countries like India, which were making real money from Kyoto. But with the Paris Convention, everybody has a commitment, everybody has a number, everybody has a target. So Class A, B, or C countries are all doing their efforts to meet their targets. And of course, Saudi Arabia has made a strong commitment to achieve by 2025. And I can see clearly since the start of the Saudi Energy Committee 4 years or 5 years ago that there is a good shift in the industry, a strong move towards energy efficiency and a bit on environment. It's not yet as strong as it should be, but energy efficiency specifically, there is a very strong move on that.
Yeah, I think that in the COVID epidemic, we've also seen a change in mindset. I remember talking to JK Cement in India, perhaps a little less than a year ago, just shortly after the epidemic started, the comment they made was that it's changed the awareness that we have of our dependence on nature and what happens in nature. And as a result of that, it seems to have had some impact on the psychology of people everywhere. And we've seen, I think, in the last 6 months in particular, really dramatic examples of companies making climate commitments, not just in cement, but in many other industries as well. But if we just come to the pandemic, maybe you could give us a summary of how the pandemic has affected the industry in Saudi Arabia in terms of the effect on demand and how you see that going forward.
Actually, COVID was, I would say, to the strong companies in Saudi Arabia was looked at as it was a good opportunity, to be honest. It actually separated the strong from the weak, and it, to a very good extent, harmonized a very fragmented market. So it helped a lot. There was, of course, at the beginning between April and June, where there was very high level of unclarity. Nobody knows how it would go on, and there was chaos everywhere. There was a lack of preparation because it was the first ever in the last maybe 2 or 3 or 4 decades, even, that the whole world sees something like that. So sales, of course, went down very much in Q2 2020. But by the time companies got the grasp of how it should be run and how they could manage the social distancing, the precautions required for the COVID and the lockdown, the management of manpower, got the right kick on digitization. Of course, companies that were ready to flexibly adapt to that. We were very lucky, actually. Yanbu Cement, we didn't stop a day. We have done 3 major shutdowns. One of them, we had 1,400 persons in the plant, and we got 0 cases of COVID. So it was a really challenging time, but it yielded a very strong impact on our organization. The concept of organization resilience. It was, to be honest, maybe it's because of my experience and age, it was my first time to see how it can make a difference, how the resilience of an organization can really make a difference on the bottom line of companies.
Sorry, can you give us a concrete example of that resilience?
Yeah, Yanbu Cement has been working on what we have called on, which is a major change in GCC. We were working on Yanbu identity. That you are not Egyptian, you are not Saudi, you are not Indian, you are not Pakistani, Bengali. We have a huge diversity, and diversity was never the strong angle in management in GCC in Saudi Arabia specifically. So we were working on that since 2016. It actually showed how strong it is, how people can stand to each other, how people work in harmony during COVID. People were locked in the plant. I'm talking about around 715 workers with their families. I'm talking about something like 3,000 persons locked in one place in the desert, 70 kilometers from the nearest city, living in harmony for more than 6 months.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, and getting out of that with no cases, no issues, no problems. People were managing the shortage of things coming to the supermarket from time to time because of the stoppage of logistics. It's a very stressing work environment. It's a stress at home. They cannot go out. We cannot even arrange what we used to do from bringing people together or making a big feast on a weekday, on a weekend or something. You cannot do any of that. It's forbidden. So it's only work and being locked at home, but still with so little that we had. So we could do an iftar for Ramadan, which should be a feast where people come together, but we could do it on a COVID base. We distributed the food to the homes. We got the people out at the same time without seeing each other, but they know it's being done in harmony and in coordination. And it really made an impact. So really, it was a very it was an opportunity. It built a very strong link between our people.
Yeah, no, it's good to see that some good things can come out of the pandemic. If you look forward now for 2021, I mean, what does the outlook look like to you in terms of demand? Are your customers working again?
Yeah, everything is back. Actually, quarter four was a great quarter for most of the companies, and the market is picking up. And government is back to expenditure on mega projects, and market was up around 7% in quarter one. Sales are picking up, the market is moving forward, and we have good business so far. And I would say that the major kick we got from COVID was digitalization. The strengths of, you cannot imagine the speed I got the approval on the digital transformation program.
So what was involved in your digitalization program? Was this an Industry 4.0?
Yeah, in a general sense, it's Industry 4.0. We have been working on that since 2017. We started with I would say the technology ecosystem. We have upgraded our DCS, we have upgraded our technical information systems, we have upgraded our ERPs. So we were working on the technology ecosystem in a good level. We have moved from that to the business ecosystem, so applications, dashboard, reports. We have good advancement on that, but the linkage, the digital transformation in Yanbu Cement is going to be built on four ecosystems: the technical, the people, the business, and the customer. So it's the connection. We are building it in four phases. So we have issues that are still remaining on the data ingestion part, and we have some upgrades we are doing to cloud move, taking security as cybersecurity as a pillar for that. So you would say the environment of data ingestion, the environment of data processing, and the people capabilities. We started last year a data camp for capability building, because we are doing the full project in-house with McKinsey last year, where we had 18 people getting the first level of data analyst needed knowledge and certifications and stuff. And now we are moving more for upgrading our user experience, building more digital day-to-day modus operandi to be more of a digital perspective in all the business aspects. And last, which we are still a bit behind on it, are two places. We have the customer part, the interface with the outer world. And we are working on artificial intelligence for the main assets. So we are starting with our raw mills, vertical raw mills for line 5, 2 500-ton low shear mills, which is going to be a strong project. And our aim is hopefully to do one kiln on full AI by end of the 2022.
You already have the information systems, the TIS and so forth, integrated all the way with the finance systems. Do you have a single platform that you can run all of that on?
Yeah.
Are you looking at moving towards a prescriptive maintenance, kind of AI-driven maintenance system yet?
We are building first the IoT sensors platform for this. We have started with condition monitoring, so lubrication, vibration, some motors. We have now handheld gadgets where people can do inspection and post maximum inspection reports and work requests, and from the site immediate. We also have made what we call a mobile CCR. It was actually a COVID idea where we were able to shift all CCRs to one portable HMI. So we can, by 2 or 3 people in one room, run any part of the plant if we are forced to any isolation, or we want to clean somewhere because there was a COVID case or something. So we can manage to move the whole CCR, the whole central control rooms of the 2 lines and the 2 power plants to one room remotely operated from anywhere in the plant. The part of the AI on the maintenance will follow once we have the IoT in place and mature enough to go to the second level.
And if you look at the what we say, the overall impact that this digitalization can have, how will the way that the operation is managed be different from the way it was, say, a couple of years ago? You know, what kind of sort of overall change do you think that this can bring to the operation of a cement company?
Yeah, and you can feel it actually almost immediately. We have currently a shutdown of 60 days of a full cost of around 50 million Saudi riyal, so almost $12 million. We are doing an modernization of our old line 4, and with a lot of activities. You are talking about 6,700 activity at the same time. You are talking about 7 major contractors with, due to the work we have done on digitization last year, specifically the integration of Maximo in our operations and connecting it to the finance. And we are almost having a daily dashboard managing everything that happened to a detailed follow-up level of number of spares and work orders and activities happening on changing of the hammers of the crusher. You can really drill down from the level of the full progress of the project till the level of number of hammers that have been changed and what's remaining from the head office boardroom. So the level of decision making, the level of coordination, the level of intervention and speed pushing and managing coordinating activities is quite huge. Same applies on energy management. The level of control that we have and details we can get down to when we are talking about analyzing a full year of energy utilization in a plant that produces 21,000 tons of clinker on daily basis. We have 25 tanks of HFO. So all these details from cleaning, taking fuel in, taking fuel out, you can do that from a dashboard in another country. So yeah, of course, it has a major impact on managing the business. It's a different level. It's what I could do 5 years ago in my office in Lafarge technical center, feeling that I own the world because I can see like 15, 20 numbers on the IP21 for each line that I work on, compared to what I can do today from my laptop at home is a huge difference.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that the nature of the jobs in the plant will change. Some of the jobs that we've had in the past, so for example, the patrolling inspectors or the CCR operators, I guess you must be thinking about how to retrain them to cope with the new technology.
Yes, and I would agree with you that this is one of the main challenges in the development of digital transformation in cement plants. Frontline blue collar jobs. You need to change their talents in a way that they have never seen before. You want them to work in a completely different manner. And you also have a problem on the mentality of the management. We still believe the eyes of the people we trust, regardless of the numbers. So yes, I have all the readings that tell me that this bearing has a problem, but I still send my best technician to have a look.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the taking advantage of the opportunities that Industry 4.0 can give to the cement industry is exactly as you say. It's a challenge of how to change the way that we manage cement plants and cement companies, you know, right from top management all the way through. And if we don't put that transformation in place, then we'll only take advantage of part of the opportunity and part of the improvements. I think it's a very interesting time for the industry. On the one hand, we've got the external challenges of the climate and the climate change and taking action to reduce emissions. And then on the other hand, we've got these technologies that are enabling the business to be run in a new way. And I think the companies that are agile and think about how they can transform to suit these future conditions will be the ones who are successful. So it's a very interesting time.
Actually, I've spent almost a year, 2018, trying to find an index that I can use with team leaders, section heads, managers, mancom, excom, and business people to reflect on what you're saying. One of the very good indexes available is what they call digital maturity. It's simply a component, a mix of components of where you are on a digital scale, from what you do by your hands and what you read and analyze from numbers. And it's actually easier to link to people, especially on management level, the concept you just prescribed, the mix of what you have from a technology point of view and the exact utilization level that you are using the solution for. And actually, you would be amazed that there was one study done from a heavy industry point of view, from a participation of 1,200 companies around the world. The maturity index is almost only 45%.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm surprised it's that high, to be honest. I think cement industry still has a long way to go, and there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of a gap, if you like, that we can still close with best practices. So the technology is certainly one part of it, but I think the challenge of combining the technology with the business model and the management way of operating is really the overall challenge for the business. If you just optimize part of that, then the results will only be part of what you're hoping for. So when it comes to results, Amr, what are you expecting in terms of if you compare, let's say, performance in 2019, say, with what you might have in 2 or 3 years' time when your program is more mature? What kind of improvements are you expecting in productivity, throughput, and so on?
By numbers, our prediction is around 5% drop in cost. And we are actually realizing that where we are only 20-30% down the road. So I would say it will get more. 5% is quite conservative. So if everything is in place, if the maturity index we are using reach it around 65-70%, we are talking around 15% drop in cost with our volumes, if the market allows. So because it's a mix of the cost drop versus the sales volume, because you will not realize the cost unless you sell the product. So if the market picked up equally, we are talking almost a 12% impact on bottom line.
Okay, well, that's a very impressive impact. And what can you share what the total investment would be in the Industry 4.0 or digitalization program?
We have for this year a budget of $1 million, and we do not expect that we expect that this is the most expensive part of the project, because this is where we are building data lake and inception programs and some softwares for the data archiving or orchestration, dimensioning the data that we have. So I would say that this is the front loading of the program. So the whole program, I would not expect more than $1.5 million, and you can get I would say a dream in place, covering most of what you need. But you know what? One of the things about digital transformation, you need to be smart about it. The Ferrari of the systems are not usually the best that you can get. It might look nice on paper, but actually on utilization, it's not your best choice. So it's not an odd thing to do something with like $20,000-$25,000 that will give you an equal, if not a better result to something that might have cost you 100K or something like that.
So if you were giving advice to somebody who was starting out, to a cement company that was starting out on this journey of digitalization and implementing Industry 4.0, what would be your 2 or 3 key points in terms of these are the key things that you should remember?
Yes, I would say the first thing is to analyze the full business from the sensor level up to the boardroom. Try to connect the temperature you have in the burning zone to the discussion you have on the cost of ton in the boardroom. Once you try to make this connection, line it and draw it, you actually could see the full picture. This is the first thing. Second thing is do the program exactly around your needs within this organization. There is no one size that can fit all. There is no actually a strong definition of digital transformation in the market. 3 is try to look at digital transformation in environments that look like what you have. We cannot look on Musk digital cars and try to do that in cement industry. It doesn't work. Neither what happens in pharmaceuticals. It doesn't work. We have a different industry with a different environment, and there is nobody to copy from, especially in the cement industry. So look at steel, look at industries that look a bit like us, so we can get a good idea on what to do.
Well, I think that's excellent advice. And, as we were talking about earlier, the importance of thinking about it as a whole company transformation is critical to getting the value out of it. And focusing on your own needs and also results, I think is always good advice. And learning from other industries that are further down the track is something that anybody starting out on this can benefit from. So I thank you for that advice. And so perhaps that's a good point to bring it to a close. It's been a pleasure speaking to you today. And I wish you every success with your digitalization program.
Thank you very much, Ian, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much.